Welcome to Touched and Empowered, a show created to empower individuals to value their lives by hosting think tank discussions that will inspire positive action. Touched and Empowered with Katie and Ace starts now.
So, welcome to this episode of Touched and Empowered. I am Katie and here with Ace. However, we're dealing with technology and Mercury in retrograde. So, Ace's camera is not working.
Oh my gosh, we tried 4 or 5 times to get the camera to work. We tried the audio. It literally went in and out. I was surprised my internet was alive. And then the moment that Katie was like, hold on, we gotta stop the recording. I kid you not, 3 alarms of 3 different vehicles outside of my apartment went off. And I was just like, wow, this is like the height of it, I guess.
Yeah, so this is a little bit crazy and insane. And one of the things that I had started thinking about when we were dealing with you trying to get into the Zoom room and everything for this call was Mercury retrograde has been thrown around a lot. I've heard a lot of people talk about it, but no one's been able to give me like a definition of what it means.
Hilarious.
Other than the universe is just throwing crap at us. And I'm like, okay, so it's the same as a full moon. But it's not the same. Well, I grew up with the full moon is when the crazies come out. So, but it's not like that. It's just different types of universal curveballs is the best way that I could describe it.
So I know we're about to ask ChatGPT, but I can give you a bit of a rendition of what I've understood retrograde to be, right?
Okay.
So people are like, isn't Mercury always in retrograde? And it's like, no, retrograde happens for about Mercury in retrograde happens for about 3 weeks.
Mm-hmm.
And it's usually every quarter. So every season there is a retrograde, a Mercury in retrograde. There is also a shadow phase of Mercury in retrograde that people don't talk about either. But let's focus on the retrograde part. Essentially, this is the time when, yes, the universe is sending you all the curveballs, air quotes, at the same time, because it's like, all right, did you learn your lesson? Let's see. Let's really challenge that. Let's see if you're ready to go to the next level of your life.
Right.
And that's why the 3-week period is pretty much like, all right, let's put it all at once to see if you can do it.
So from the standpoint as to what it looks like, the best way that I could describe it is an optical illusion that Mercury is moving backwards in the universe.
Yes, that is the very clear astronomical.
Yeah, the astronomical aspect is that Earth just happens to be overtaking Mercury in orbit, and it appears that Mercury is just moving backwards across the sky, which is why people think that time is shifting backwards and crazy things happen.
Yes. And then if you think about it on the spiritual level, technically speaking, it's like, yeah, you're going back in time to relive some events to see if you've learned your lesson and you don't make the same mistake again.
Right.
At once.
And it's interesting how it works, or not how it works, but how it interacts with us. Because if you look at what Mercury rules over, Mercury has power over communications, technology, travel, I'm guessing contracts and agreements, because that has to deal with communication with people. So during these time frames where Mercury's in retrograde, it's almost like people can't understand each other. The lines of communication are broken. Technology doesn't want to work.
Yep. Especially technology, apparently.
Yeah, especially. I mean, I've had emails vanish into the void, and then 3 weeks later they pop up like they arrived on their original date, but I swear they were not there before.
Yeah, it's a thing. Or like I said, alarms going off, my internet going wonky. It's funny because you'll communicate with somebody and think you're on the same page, but for whatever reason, it doesn't feel stable. And then 3 weeks later, you're like, oh yeah, we were not on the same page. It's a good thing we didn't sign that contract.
Right. It's like a universal plot twist. You know, let's see what kind of curveball we can throw at you today.
Oh, what are some of the best curveballs that you got during Mercury in retrograde?
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Um, I've never really paid attention to when Mercury was in retrograde to know whether or not these crazy curveballs that I received happened during that window or not, to be honest. But I've had ones where I'm talking to somebody about doing an update to a website and they're saying A, I'm saying B, and we should arrive at C, but for some reason we wind up on X. And just getting frustrated with, well, you told me this, and no, that's not what I said. I said this. And it wasn't that we weren't communicating, it's just it wasn't clear.
Right.
And it could be a combination of not either one of us not using the correct words or just either one of us not being fully present in the conversation. And it's filtering in what we think we want to hear because, like, for me, oh, easy fix. No, it was actually a really complicated thing that needed to be fixed. But I was like, oh, this will be easy. And so I filtered out details. I'm assuming I'll accept my responsibility that I filtered out details that would have been important at the beginning to take what ended up being a 4-hour project, probably would have been about 2 hours if I caught those details in the very beginning.
I see. Yeah, that's a good one. I think so. There was a point in time when I just had this very interesting car pattern that it got better every time. Like my car would get towed. It would just get towed. It would just Mercury retrograde. It would just get towed, like for whatever freaking reason, and the reasons varied. It was like first was registration wasn't updated. Okay, fair.
Right.
Second time, 3 parking tickets.
Uh-huh.
Okay, fair. Third time, and my car towed 7 times in 1 year. This is the thing for Los Angeles. The third time was registration and parking tickets, and I was just like, okay, I get it. And then fourth time was just like, I think at that point my car was just dubbed as the car to just, if you see this car, just pull it in. And I was like, oh my gosh. So I learned all my lessons on the 5th time. When I gave it back, I was like, I don't want this car anymore. Lease up, good, keep it.
Right.
And I got this other car. I made sure my registration was good on that car. I loved that car. Second thing, the 5th time was like, I forgot what else. Parking wise, the meter ran out. It was just like the time that they had to pull my car.
Mm-hmm.
And they just had to. Otherwise, it would get hit by other cars. And I was like, okay, all right, fine. It's fine. What I learned also was that I got this really good package for that car, that if it gets into a tow yard, there's an agency that fights to get your car back without having to pay anything. So
oh, wow.
I learned my freaking lesson. I was like, all right, I'm getting that package. So I didn't have to worry about getting it out and having to pay like $1,000. I would just pay like maybe $40.
Something a lot more reasonable.
Oh yeah. So we learned our lesson. We got the registration thing. We got everything updated. Great. The 6th time was during the pandemic. And I was just like, and it was every retrograde this would happen. It would just happen. Every retrograde. And what this time, it was there for like a week. I couldn't go get it because we weren't allowed to go outside.
Right.
But everything was taken care of because of the agency. Registration was taken care of no matter how much people hounded me. And there was like maybe, I think it was 1 parking ticket. It was just 1 parking ticket. And
which is a lot more manageable. Yeah.
Yeah. And then because it was COVID, I didn't have to worry about paying the overfees or whatever. But what I ended up doing was I was like, screw it. I'm just shipping my car back to my parents. Fine. Their car broke down. I don't need it anymore. Here you go. Right. No. 7th retrograde. 7th retrograde, ladies and gentlemen. I get a freaking letter from from California DMV about my car not being registered in California. And I was like, It's not here, bitches. Sorry. It's registered in New York now. Ha ha. And I was so angry. 8th retrograde, my mom totals the car. So that's like how that works.
So it really is the universal curveball. Because it gives you the option to think creatively, because if the same thing that you're doing doesn't work, it's like that quote that everyone says Einstein said, but I don't know if he actually said it. But expect doing the same thing, hoping to get different results, and you want to know why it's not working. I think that's what Mercury in retrograde does for us, is it gives us the opportunity to be like, okay, I've already done it this way 3 times, 4 times, 10 times, 20 times, whatever. I need to try something else. Maybe instead of just reacting to it, I need to take a deep breath, slow down, use this as a chance to reevaluate, revisit, reorganize, maybe even reflect, especially when it comes to those categories of communication, technology, these things that just always seem to go into flux during this time.
Oh yeah, and my contact just teared in my eye. Like, this is like, as we were speaking, that's why I was on mute for a second. I was like, why is my eye hurting? Because my contact tore in my eye. So these are the I'm really grateful that I have an entire, like, I reordered an entire package of contacts before the retrograde.
Right.
Because I had a feeling that I would run out of contacts. We learn our lesson.
We learn our lessons, and it's one of those things that it's just helpful to be mindful of, because we know it's with everything else in the universe. There are cycles. There are highs, there are lows. There are different seasons as we go around this planet and as we go around the sun. We know these things are going to come, and for seasons, we prepare for them. We prepare to have snow and ice during the wintertime. So what do you think we could do to prepare for when we know this Mercury in retrograde is coming and is going to be throwing us curveballs?
Don't freak out, I think, is the first thing.
Yeah.
Because you can, and you might, and you can also blow up, like I have the past 2 hours. But but the thing is, what's really important is like, it's not, what do you call it? It's not, the word for it is like, see what I mean by Mercury? Sometimes you don't even find the words during Mercury in retrograde a lot of the time.
Right.
It's not like you're going to be in this storm forever. So thankfully it's going to pass. The best thing you can do is essentially take the challenges as they come, because no matter what, it's a refinement for growth. Every Mercury retrograde, in my opinion, is a refinement for growth. And sometimes at the end of the retrograde, you get a really big benefit when you finally change your habits and respond differently to the craziness of the retrograde. Allow things to pass, feel your emotions, suffer what there is to suffer, enjoy what there is to enjoy. It happens. Like, there's going to be a bunch of tumultuousness, but at the end of it, it ends up being really great in the long run. Because think about it. If you are in a consistent routine, right? No matter what, you're in a consistent routine, it gets boring after a while.
True.
So what this does is it actually looks into the machine of your routines and systems and whatnot, and finds where all the little bugs are.
In very interesting ways.
In very interesting ways, the fun ways. And then it helps you to refine whatever you need to do so you don't go through that again in the long run.
Yeah. And it really is, I think, taking that pause to respond with intention instead of just react to something that really helps to thrive during this time of Mercury retrograde. Because with everything being in so much flux, it's really easy for us just to respond, that knee-jerk reaction. And I've seen it where people have typed up pages and pages and pages of fantastic content and swear they hit save, but there's no record of it.
Yeah. I
You know,
oh my gosh, yeah, that sucks. I always recommend during Mercury in retrograde, do not sign any contracts. If you do anything electronically, try to write it somewhere before you put it anywhere technologically, so that you have like a print version of whatever you were thinking at the time. A good portion of the time, it might not, when you actually come back from retrograde, come back as if it's like a journey. When
it is a journey.
It is. When retrograde ends, your mind is in like a completely different headspace, so you can actually see things clearly.
Oh, yeah. And it's funny because I know that there have been times that I will admit that I might have to go back and look at calendar to see if these fell in retrograde. But I've gone back and looked at like journal entries or emails that I've sent, and I'm like, why does that sound so villainous? Why does that sound so snarky? Why does it sound like I'm throwing shade when that was not my intention at all? Now, it could have just been that I was having a bad day that time, but it will be interesting if I go back and actually compare it to the windows if those all happened in Mercury in retrograde.
Yeah.
So I'm just mindful because, it's like putting a letter in the mail. Once it's in someone else's hands, you don't have control over it anymore. It's the same thing when you send someone a text message. They might take a screenshot of it and then use it to blackmail you later. So you want to make sure that whatever you're sending people, that it's, full of the real reason why you're sending them the message, with gratitude and with love and with all these positive emotions, and that we're not just sending snarky stuff that could be taken 10 times worse than the light joke we were thinking it might be.
Yeah, I always recommend, because that's something that does happen. And it's funny how emails and text messages can become political. So
especially when we're not intending that to happen.
Right. So I always recommend being polite through every message. A please and a thank you will always secure okay. Like, in my opinion, always just add the please and the thank you in anything. Additionally to that, like, it's funny that you say snarky, because it's true. Like, you don't know that it's coming off that way.
True.
Because you're being sincere, but the other person's like, this person.
How dare they say something like that to me? And it's not that we were intending to say something like that. It's just at that particular moment in time, at the space that person is, we don't know how someone is going to respond or react to something we say, something we write. And because we don't know what's going on behind the eyes, between the ears, we don't know what's going on in someone's head. And if we're dealing with other external forces that are influencing us, like Mercury in retrograde, things can be thrown even more out of whack.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And I always recommend, like, because everything becomes pretty ridiculous. Sometimes, like, the weirdest things are just so ridiculous during Mercury in retrograde that the best thing to do is just laugh. Just I can't believe that happened. Okay.
To laugh and to take care of yourself.
Oh yeah, be gentle.
Yeah, be gentle with yourself. Give yourself some grace. Give yourself, be grateful for everything that's in your world, no matter how wonky it is, because it's in your world for a reason.
Absolutely. Like, for instance, my laptop is not letting us use Zoom. Right. I can't just no. But I'm on the phone. It's still working. I promise. And then let me see if I can get the shot of me in midnight. 1 second. Let's see. No, midnight's moving. Okay, great. Don't move, puppy. Okay.
We're gonna see. Okay, there we go. Hi, midnight.
There she is. There's my giant animal. I love you.
She's just like watching over everything right now.
Yes, because this is what we got right now. Me, my bed, my puppy. because my desk isn't letting me do anything right now. Right, Mike? I love you. But
And that's okay. I mean, there are times where we need to take that break from our norm.
and let your dog lick your face.
Or let your dog lick your face, and one of the things that I found is when I was in a funk, I needed something to break my daily routine. And my daily routine does involve drinking coffee. I just love my coffee first thing in the morning.
Yeah.
But to break up the routine, I decided, okay, instead of just doing what I always do, which is make the coffee, sit at the dining room table and read a book, I made my coffee and I sat outside on the back porch and did not read my book.
Mm.
Did not have music on, did not have headphones on or anything else like that. Just sat outside and just listened. And I found out that there are some really interesting animals that like to roam the alley behind my house.
Oh, okay. Mm-hmm.
That there are teenagers that have fantastic singing voices. And 3 doors down, every Saturday night, I'm just going to say they're adults because I can't tell how old they are. But there's a group of guys that get together and practice fighting with their lightsabers in the alley. So I get to watch a Star Wars battle every Saturday night sitting on my back porch.
That's great.
And that's not stuff. I've lived in this house for over 8 years. I never knew any of that was around me because I never went out on the back porch until I decided to do this one thing to change my routine.
I'm in a sports bra, folks.
Yes. You are well covered.
I'm well covered, I promise. It's funny because my dog is actually in the she's eating the phone. But she was like actually in the spots where you just saw skin.
You couldn't tell, but that's okay. We're glad you're covered. We are safe.
We are safe. You safe? I'm fine. I'm fine. Yes.
So, but there are things that we can do to kind of help settle the chaos of Mercury retrograde around us. And it could be something as simple as changing our routine, like where we have our morning coffee or, having our evening drink before going to bed. It could be doing something like, okay, I'm going to do my shadow work. I'm going to do tarot card spreads. I'm going to work with crystals.
Actually, definitely do your shadow work during Mercury retrograde.
Yeah.
That I highly recommend because it's the best time because no matter what, it's coming out.
True. So there are ways that we can use this energy in the positive, even though it seems like the world around us is going crazy.
Yes.
I'm just watching Midnight, just like trying to play with you, and you're like just sitting there,
loving my
having
dog.
fun. Yes.
Because this is how. I swear, for another thing, I've done 2 things this retrograde that I haven't done before.
What's up?
I went to I love going to sound baths, but I normally wait until my friends or anyone I really know is giving a sound bath, right?
Right.
Sunday, I was like, I need something. I need something because I feel heavy, the energy is harsh, right? And what ends up happening is I'm like, I go on Eventbrite and I'm like, is there any sound baths near me? Like today.
Mm-hmm.
So I went, and then additionally to that, I didn't realize it, but there was there was like a goddess type female energy activation dance with the sound bath. And I was
interesting.
I was like, cool. Let's give it a shot.
Try something new.
Something new. And it was such a great experience. Like Mercury in retrograde is a good time to do new things. It is.
Yes.
It is.
It's a chance to experience it or try something new and experiment. And the fun thing is that if it doesn't work out, blame it on Mercury retrograde.
Exactly. It was really cool. And then what ended up happening? That's my puppy.
Thank you, Midnight.
Thank you, puppies. What ended up I feel like I'm showing a little too much there. What ended up happening was My dog's mouth. I met 5 really cool women that were,
Mhm.
and I don't normally like go out and just hang out with women, but it was like 5 people I'd never met before. One of them I got to hang out with. Another person invited me to go to Greece, and then another person is now going to be a client. So it's like you just kind of never know.
Right.
That's the same thing. I took a Pilates class. Never did that before. I like it.
Good.
And it's the type of machinery that won't delete.
Right.
Hopefully, anything as you're working out. So it was pretty cool. I feel like it's a good time to expand your life by trying new things. If something doesn't work out, it doesn't work out, but do something different. That's going to help a long way.
Yeah. So on that note, we are coming to the end of the episode today. So I'm glad things smoothed out to where we were able to see you on camera and say hi to Midnight. And for everyone else, just take it one day at a time. Take it easy, take a deep breath. Just know that the universe is guiding you in the right direction, even if it feels wonky.
Yeah. Because honestly, I think a good portion of the time we are in control of our own lives. Yes. But this is the time where you don't have to be in control, because the more you do, the more you get thrown in 50 directions. Have fun. Thanks.
Yes, have fun. Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Thank you for joining us. We hope that the discussion today will inspire you to take positive action in your life. Until next week, be empowered.